Yeah, I'm Wing Commander Steve Henry. I'm Deputy Director Surveillance of Space at Australian Air Force Headquarters. So we're here developing space situation awareness capabilities for the Australian Defence Force. Absolutely. So joint and combined warfighters use space every single day for all aspects of their work, whether it's communications, weather, GPS, so monitoring, positioning, navigation and timing. So there's a plethora of uses for space out there. And a big part of our role is to assure those warfighters access to those services, because we really have come to rely on them. So with objects in space orbiting at speeds up to and around 8 kilometres per second, it behoves us to keep an eye on what's going on up there, track all of the objects and ensure that the assets on orbit are safe. So space situation awareness underpins that ability by providing us an understanding of not just the environment, but what's in it, where is it, what's it doing, and how can it impact our operations. Huge advantage is that we're on the opposite side of the planet from the US. So the US has an extensive space surveillance network that they're using, but with partners around the world, they're looking to develop a global capability. So we'll develop our sovereign capabilities that are interoperable and complementary to US capabilities, other Five Eyes nations and other international partners. Space it's just the ultimate team sport. So here we are doing this global job to grow that common knowledge, common understanding and common way of operating to assure those services for warfighters. We have the Australian Space Operations Centre. We're developing mission systems for them, and they work with the Combined Space Operations Centre at Vandenberg Air Force Base. So the AusSPOC is right here near Canberra. We operate a couple of sensors for the US at the moment. So the C-band radar at Harold E. Holt is operational, and we're in the process of installing the Space Surveillance Telescope at Harold E. Holt as well. And both of those will be, they're still US owned, but they're operated by No. 1 Remote Sensor Unit, which is a surveillance unit that we have at RAF Base Edinburgh down near Adelaide. In addition to that, we're looking to deploy our own sensors and capabilities around Australia and hopefully around the world as well. There'll be ground-based, space-based, active and passive optical, active and passive radar and passive RF systems that will deploy all over the country. Yeah, look, I've had the great privilege of two postings, two tours in the US. In 2003, 4, 5, I was at the 2nd Space Warning Squadron at Buckley Air Force Base, there right by Denver. Great skiing. And a great work experience as well. So we were fully integrated into the crew force there, which was just an exceptional experience. We had multinationals, so Canadians and Brits on the crews as well, and obviously the US. We had industry working with us there, so that was just a great experience as a huge team. But we also, I spent 2 years at the Pentagon on the Secretary of Air Force's space staff there. Again, just awesome getting to be involved at that level in US policy making, working with Air Force Space Command, and we were working mostly on space situation awareness policy and space traffic management. So cooperating with the policy staff there, NASA, all those teams. It was just an exceptional experience there as well. The great thing is, you obviously get to immerse in the lifestyle as well. So I was in DC for 2 years at the Pentagon. Just exceptional to see everything, all the privileges of national institutions that you get to check out there. The Air and Space Museum, that other side of the lifestyle as well was just so cool. Yeah, so I owe, passed me a pretty big high five. I'm an air battle manager by trade, so or a fighter controller, I think is the term that is sometimes used. My career field is largely related to air surveillance and control. So we don't actually have a specific space career field yet, but our partnership goes back a very long way. So back in, I guess it was 2000, 2001, I found out about the SBIRS gig, the 2nd Space Warning Squadron at Denver. I thought, look, space is cool. I think it's something that's coming along. It's something I'd like to get involved in. So I got onto, we have the Directorate of Personnel, said, hey, I reckon this is a pretty good deal for both of us. So that was my first taste at that tactical level space operations. And since then, I've just had the opportunity to really try and help grow that capability within the Defence Force and always in cooperation with the US. So that's been a whole lot of fun. So lots and lots of combined exercises from things like the Talisman Sabre series of exercises where we always try to bring a space cell, right through to other space-specific activities like Pacific Vision and that sort of thing out in Hawaii. So I've always had that opportunity to work together, and then obviously resulted in another posting over there. So It's something that's absolutely growing in Australia. We just kicked off the Australian Space Agency back in July 2018. And that agency is just capitalising massively on existing enthusiasm and industry here in Australia. So it's not to say that we didn't have a space industry before, but now we've got an agency that advocates for them and is really opening the door internationally to partners around the world. And I guess that's probably actually the most exciting part of the job that I'm doing now, not just developing that capability for the Australian Defence Force, but I get to work with Australian small companies and universities and all that sort of stuff every day to grow that industry. We're doing what we can to develop a lot of that capability right here organically. It's just a really exciting time for Australian space. Because of my 2 exchange positions, I speak American fairly well. You know, and it just means that when we are working together to try and develop capabilities and policies and that sort of thing, I've actually got a pretty good understanding. So when Tanya's talking to me about AFSpace CC or CV and these sorts of things, it's just a much more natural connection between our forces. So we know who we need to talk to about industry participation, exercises, operations. We speak a common language, even with just things as simple as documentation and the way you speak about administration. It just comes together so more easily when we can tap into either the exchange officer sitting right next to you or your experience being an exchange officer over there, and being able to just pick up the phone and make that call to your mates. Oh, it's brilliant. Always a good time. A lot of healthy competition every now and then about, you know, which sports are meaningful and which ones are rubbish, like NFL. But we have a really great relationship, and it's just so close. Like, there's just things constantly going on between our forces, whether it's overseas on real world operations, actually doing the job, or developing capability together. We know that there's just that level of trust and communication understanding where we are operating in a way that is just open and free, and you can just get stuff done when you need to do it. And you can make a phone call, and whether you're giving good news or bad news, you know that the person on the other end of the phone is going to be, you know, talking to you with a common goal in mind of getting things right. Yeah, look, I think I said it before, space is the ultimate team sport, and it's just a great thing to be involved in. We're just having such a good time working with our US and other Five Eyes partners, and all of us are growing just at this exponential rate, this amazing capability to look after space, the environment, the operations, not just for military, but for the whole of society. It's just so important, and it's a privilege to be involved in.